We have hockey royalty in our studio this morning, particularly for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. Mats Sundin clocked nearly 1,000 games in blue and white. 840 of those were as captain. 13 seasons, leading scorer, most goals, most assists, most overtime goals. And now the Hockey Hall of Famer is inviting readers into the inner workings of that impressive NHL career with his new book, Home and Away. We are so glad to have you here in the studio this morning, Mats. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, I loved in this book learning about your family, about your childhood, growing up in Sweden, and I loved this story that your grandmother used to play goalie for you and your brothers, and that was her idea. What was Grandma Marta like as a goalie?
We scored a lot of goals on her. She made some saves. We were just glad to get someone in there in that.
What a great memory. You write quite a bit about the media in this city and about how some players would read out. There you are. Who is this in this picture?
That's me to the right, the little guy, and my older brother, Patrick, 4 years older, to the left. My dad played goalie for a while when we were growing up.
Unless Grandma Marta was around.
Exactly. And that's me in the blue overall, and my older brother, Patrick, in the red. And I just try to chase him. So he was very important for me growing up, and I had that 4-year-old that I could chase and try to keep up with. So it gave me a good start with my hockey career.
Do you still play hockey with him now?
Not with him, but I do play again. I play once a week for an hour. Still as fun as when playing for the Leafs. You know, I still love the game.
Let's talk about the game. You know, you write about how, the media loved to try and figure out Mats Sundin, and you said you never would read any of the articles. One of the stories that I love that you describe is when you came back to Toronto after leaving.
Yeah.
And, people remember this footage. You were emotional during that game. We saw that. But what we didn't see is what you write about in the book and how you were feeling ahead of time, that you were actually nervous. What were you worried about?
I was always nervous for a game. I think that and we talk about, that knot in the stomach is something I miss today too. It's business time, right? You have to perform, you have to get there. And if you don't have that knot, the performance is not going to be as good. So that's something I'm missing now. But as soon as you hit the ice, it was gone, right? It's something you've done millions of times, skating and playing games.
But that game in particular, you weren't just nervous about the game. You were nervous about the fans and how they react. What happened when you walked into the arena?
I had a tough time falling asleep the day before, coming back, and with the commotion that went on when I had played my last year for the Leafs. And I think 13 years with the team, 11 years as a captain, it gets personal. It meant so much to me all those years for me and my family. So it was hard coming back. Once the game started, it was tough to focus just on the game like in a normal way, but great memory.
Yeah, and a great memory for fans too. I can't help but thinking, and I'm glad you put this story in the book. You arrive in this city, and you came at a time, you were traded for a beloved member of this team, for Wendell Clark. You're a young man, you're a foreigner, which is how they would have described you then, being from Sweden. You didn't orchestrate this trade, but you were the public face of it. And how difficult was that transition? Because fans actively disliked you, and it took a long, they did, and it took a long time for them to give you the credit that you were showing them on the ice.
Oh, for sure. And lucky enough, maybe, I didn't understand how big the shoes were that I had to fill after Wendell Clark until I got here. And
what
totally different. Just the question that I got from media. How does it feel try to fill Wendell Clark's shoes? And completely different style of player. I mean, Wendell was pretty tough. He would drop his gloves fighting, played a real Western Canadian hockey game up and down, and me coming from Europe, all skill, producing goals and points. So it took me a few years to earn the respect from the fans and actually prove that I was worthy the Leafs trading away Wendell.
How did you not let that get in your head?
Well, I don't know. I think my demeanor and the way we write it in the book, just the upbringing and everything. I was very fortunate to have parents, very safe environment growing up, and I think that really helped me. And we reflect on that in the book. It really helped me prepare for what's coming, representing the Toronto Maple Leafs and being the captain.
When I was preparing for this interview, I called up Shane Doan because he not only played against you, but you spent some time together recently. He was complimentary of your skills. He described you as a real-life Viking. And he was also a long-serving captain like yourself, but he said there's being a captain and then there's being a captain in Toronto.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
Well, when I got the captaincy or got asked to be the captain, I called up Boris Salming. Obviously, I didn't have the knowledge about or really the right answer. And Boris said, you have to accept it, Mats. It's the biggest honor in hockey. Toronto is the hockey capital of the world. And he also denied being the captain. And then he said he regretted that the rest of his life. So it was an easy decision for me. And I always felt that my game was better. I was the captain since a young age, 10, 12 years old. So I felt my game was always improved. A little more responsibility.
I want to ask you about a little secret you reveal in the book, that there's a secret club nestled in the ACC that most people don't know about.
It was.
There was. It is called the Cotton Club. Can you tell that story to us?
Yeah, and you reflect back, and I'm glad I did the book now when I'm a little bit older, because you realize a place like that where, there's a laundry machine, there's a little couch there, and guys could get away after the game and hang with...
Wait, the laundry machine? So you're in the laundry room?
The laundry room, yeah. The Cotton Club was a laundry room, and trainers are running in and out after the game, and guys would come in there, just sit down and relax for a bit and talk about everything else but hockey, right? So, but it's an off button at the same time mentally, because with the pressure, the game's been going on, there's a lot of guys been dealing with the media before, so you just come in there, sit down and relax and get the pressure out of the system was actually important for those years.
I can't imagine you guys sitting amongst all the dirty, sweaty whatnots of after a hockey game, having those kinds of conversations. Hey, Mats Sundin, it was really great to have you here. I got to ask you one last question before you go, because you dedicate this book to your 3 children who are 12, 10, and 7. Was it harder being a coach of the captain of the Leafs or being a dad of 3?
Easy question. It's tougher to be the dad of 3 kids.
It's a great book and a great one for fans as well. It is called Home and Away. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.